Well, Sony, you had two shots at this. How did you miss both? Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, welcome back to another Sunday Fun Day, and for today I'm going to be doing a comparison video. Now, I considered making this a full-blown cinema showdown, but I feel like it's too small of a topic, so we're going to make a comparison video on this, and today we're going to be comparing Venom. So which Venom is better? Venom from Spider-Man 3 or Venom from 2018's Venom? I feel this video is kind of necessary, honestly, because a lot of people are going to draw a comparison between these two. I mean, people immediately after seeing Venom just this weekend went out and tweeted, Spider-Man 3 is still better, or still better than Spider-Man 3, and blah blah blah. Obviously that was bound to happen anyway because it is the only two live-action iterations of the character, but I am here to set the story straight. So the first thing I want to compare is the suit of the character. Well, you have Spider-Man 3, and honestly, I do not like the Spider-Man 3 one. The Venom suit is the one from the 90s cartoon, which I always refer to because that's my favorite. Even the Spider-Man symbiote suit, I thought they did bad in Spider-Man 3. I even thought that as a kid, because I just like the pure black suit with the giant white spider that wraps around. I think that's better for Spider-Man. I think that's better for Venom. In the cartoon, this one and both of them, they just made it was a regular Spider-Man suit. They just turned all black, and Venom basically wore the exact same thing. It was like the full-blown Spider-Man suit with the webbing on it and everything. And then it's just kind of slightly buffer and had some gnarly teeth. So I really don't like that suit from Spider-Man 3 compared to the Venom 2018 suit. Don't love it still because it's full-blown CGI, and the CGI flips back and forth. Sometimes it looks really good, sometimes it doesn't, but that's another topic. It's fine, you know what I mean? They got the height right, he's like 7, 8, 9 feet tall, and they got the gnarly teeth right and everything, and he's ripped, like he's this massive hulking monster, like a bit smaller than the Hulk, but he's getting there, he's pretty big. But he, he just still kind of has these kind of white lines on him, because I guess since they don't really have Spider-Man right now, and they tried to do a Venom origin story without Spider-Man, even though the two are directly linked. Regardless, as the suit goes, yeah, it was better, for sure it was better. Like I said, he was bigger, he was buffer, didn't have the giant white spider that I love, but he was still overall, you could tell, hey, that's Venom. So definitely, in regards to the suit, the Venom from 2018 is definitely better. Next is the CGI, and I don't necessarily want to say CGI, it's more so the look of the suit, if that makes any sense, because the suits, they both obviously have CGI in them. But I feel like the Spider-Man 3 one is less so CGI. I definitely feel like there are moments, especially when it's just Topher Grace's face, that he was just wearing a suit and they had the tendons kind of wrapped around the side of his head there. I definitely feel like that wasn't CGI, but of course when Venom's screeching and fighting and all that stuff, it's still CGI in Spider-Man 3 and versus Venom 2018, which is full-blown CGI. So I feel like the Spider-Man 3 suit has this more natural, organic feel because, although I'm sure that at times it really was like a real suit that Topher Grace was wearing, Venom overall in that movie just looks more realistic than he does in Venom 2018, because like I said in my review and just a second ago there, that the Venom in 2018 can look really good at times, but at other times the CGI is downright awful and it looks cheap and just gross and I don't like it. So I'd say for the kind of the look of the suit, the feel of the suit, the Spider-Man 3 2007 Topher Grace suit definitely has a more realistic and natural look to it than the Venom 2018 one does. Next, I'll compare Eddie Brock. So you're comparing Topher Grace's performance as Eddie Brock versus Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, and no contest at all here. The Eddie Brock from Spider-Man 3, played by Topher Grace, was a little weasel and I couldn't stand him. He did not embody the Eddie Brock that I knew growing up whatsoever. He was just this snarky child. And that's not to say I don't like Topher Grace, because I really do enjoy Topher Grace in a lot of movies and in that 70s show, but the thing is, he was annoying to me. He was just this little snarky little character, even when he was being Venom. As I've said, the symbiote is supposed to heighten aggression, not make you more of a dirtbag. And I don't mean dirtbag as in, like, aggressive dirtbag, I mean, like, he's just being a little, like, more of a weasel. He's just making these snarky little comments and capturing his girlfriend and things like that, and he's just annoying. Versus Tom Hardy, who still didn't really embody Eddie Brock all that well. I think he did the reporter Eddie Brock fine. But again, that's something that I didn't enjoy about this movie a lot. I enjoy the interactions between Eddie and Venom, but I just felt with this movie, it still didn't really do that, like, height of aggression thing. It's just kind of like he developed this split personality because Venom was in his head, and then Venom wants to eat people, but Eddie Brock's a good person, so they just kind of became the anti-hero where you only eat bad people. Regardless, Eddie Brock still is better in this one because he's just not a snarky little asshole. He's just a normal character, really. But I still prefer it to Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3. And next is the abilities of the character. You'd think it's a bit of a no-brainer, but it's kind of not. Because in Spider-Man 3, he has all the abilities of Spider-Man and a bit more, right? He's a bit stronger than Spider-Man. His webbing is all like pure black, like it's all symbiote and such as that. But it's like the abilities of Spider-Man versus the abilities in this, and he doesn't use like the spider webs to get around the city. He just runs really fast, can jump really high, and he's like almost impenetrable. Like bullets don't really do anything to him. He basically like Hulk, like a symbiote Hulk. Like he's climbing up buildings, not like climbing like Spider-Man or using his webs to get up there. He's just like digging his hands into the walls and flying up the side of the building. But then he also has the capability to have these kind of tendons, and that's what he uses to kind of fly around the city when he needs to. It's just like the symbiote shoots out like you saw in the trailers, latches onto things and pulls them towards it or whatnot, or swings them around. But he also has the capability of making shields and whatnot, so it helps him in combat to block things. He just kind of turns into this giant blob. But for sake of entertainment, I felt this Venom in 2018 was better in that sense because they did the best they could with not using Spider-Man. Rather than having him have the webbings and whatnot, he uses his symbiote. Regardless, I still found that to be more entertaining than Venom from Spider-Man 3. And lastly is the movies that they are in. They're both not great movies, but I feel like the reason for that is Spider-Man 3 is a not great movie because Spider-Man 1 and 2 are great movies, so you expected Spider-Man 3 to be, but that fell apart by overstuffing way too many plot lines, way too many villains, and way too much of everything into one movie. You look back at it now and you're not so critical about it over a decade later. It is still a fun, enjoyable movie to watch. This Venom movie, as I said in my review, it's super generic, it's super by the numbers. It didn't even have to be a Venom movie. It doesn't have Spider-Man. Usually Eddie Brock becoming Venom is directly related to Spider-Man after he had the symbiote suit. This one, it could have been anything. It could have been like, it didn't have to be Venom is what I'm saying. It could have been literally any sort of alien, any sort of technology, latches on to the main character, and then he just kind of has this like split. He's either this like hero, or he's the regular person because of an alien and tries to take down an evil corporation and stuff. The movie was fun though. It was a guilty pleasure. It's loaded to the absolute brim with flaws, but I still had fun watching it. But Spider-Man 3 is actually a good movie. Believe it or not, it is a good movie, okay? It's not great like the other ones. There are good things still in there, despite it being very overstuffed. Venom 2018, purely just guilty pleasure material. So for movies that they are in, I would say that Spider-Man 3 actually wins, despite him being wedged into the last like 20 minutes, half an hour of the movie, being completely unnecessary and everything. Spider-Man 3 as a whole is the better movie. So all in all, who would I say is the better Venom, despite Spider-Man 3 being the better movie to have been in, and the suit in Spider-Man 3 looking more real, natural, and just organic. Despite that, Venom 2018's Venom is better. I like Tom Hardy more as Eddie Brock. He looks like Venom a lot more. He doesn't have the just regular Spider-Man webs on him. He's like 9 feet tall. He's absolutely jacked. He has much more interesting and entertaining abilities. So overall, I do think that Venom 2018's Venom is a better character than the Spider-Man 3 version. So folks, if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know, which Venom would you choose? And be sure to hit me up on social media. The links will be in the description, or you can just wait until the end of the video. They will be there as well. And be sure to check out my Instagram page every Friday for the Fan Vote Friday. We're going to be heading into round 2 of the Halloween Challenge this coming Friday, October 12th, so be sure to check it out. As always, folks, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap.